What about you?
You are
What's your
buoyant.
next athletic endeavor?
We ain't got time for that one.
Sure we do. Nothing.
Not nothing. Not
Because
nothing.
you're retired.
I'm not retired.
Old man
I've
retired.
I've I'm taking a sabbatical.
Sabbatical. Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's answer the question, am I done with strongman? To be direct, no. Far from it. Now, that was a short answer. Let me elaborate. I will not be competing again this year. It's a question as to at what time next year do I start competing again. I would like to be back, or not be back. I would like to be able to compete come Red Brick, spring of next year. I will be back no later than Mississippi Strongest Man, fall to winter of next year. There has been a truth that I have been observing as time has gone on, and I've chosen to ignore it, but I've finally internalized it and come to terms with it, and am putting a plan into action for it. For the last 3 years, I have been a competitive strongman in the under 105 and under 100 kilo classes, depending upon the federation. I'm short. That's just the honest truth. I am 5'10" on a good day. No matter how strong I can get strong enough to where I can keep up with the best in that class, strength-wise. I will never be as fast as them. Their stride lengths will be longer. They are going to be able to pick up odd objects quicker. It would take years and years and years to even come close if I could beat them. So, that's where we find myself currently. I feel at 5'10", I would be a far more competitive athlete in the under 198 class. So under 90 kilo class is what that comes out to be. I am officially taking a break from competing at strongman, so that way I can drop a weight class and be a better strongman athlete. Now, I have been competing, or I have been training to compete since summer of 2016, whenever I first got into middle school cross country. that's been a decade of competing. I don't just flip that switch and turn it off. I always want to push my boundaries and see how I compare to other people. So, what does that make the next 12 to 18 months look like? I'm glad you asked. There's several different, I would say, bucket list items. Not necessarily bucket lists in like lifetime achievements, but athletic bucket lists. Things that I want to be able to say, I did that to some sort of competitive level. I'm going to see if I can't tackle some of those in the next 12 to 18 months. There are several of them that the style of training and diet I will be following to try to encourage this weight drop that will lean into those sort of athletic performances. So during that time, I'm going to push myself in some of those where I know because I am at entry level, I don't have to push it as hard. For me to be happy competing in strongman requires a drastic level of commitment because of what I have achieved. It's not like I've achieved anything super great, but at the end of the day, I don't want to come back and do anything less than better than what I've done. The day whenever I am no longer able to have a genuine chance at outperforming past me is the day that I stop the sport. So, in these other sports where either I don't have a baseline or my baseline is from 6 years ago, I can come in and push myself and it not require as much commitment from me. Because right now, that's what I need in my life. Trying to plan a wedding and figure out what being a husband is going to be like for me. I can't put the level of commitment into strongman that I want, that I have to. I can't meet my standards. So, here are the couple of things that I'm looking to do in the next year. There is not a set order for these. It's just gonna kind of be feeling how things go, feeling how my body is, and seeing what I'm able to push at what times. First off is to beat my 5K time. Back in 2018, I ran a 5K road race. That was my 5K PR in 30 minutes and 3 seconds. Sad part is I didn't full sprint at the end. I did not fully kick because I looked at the race time that was up next to the finish line and saw that I wasn't going to be able to break 30 minutes. And so I chose to run it in instead of sprint it in to prevent myself from injury because I knew it was going to be a massive PR for me and there was no way that I could break 30 minutes. So whatever I got was happy. But then later on, whenever my time got adjusted, which my dumb self forgot that my time would be adjusted, it adjusted me down to 30:03. So I could have run sub 30. So the goal is to go back, get some revenge, and run a sub 35K. I plan to run 3.1 miles in under 30 minutes. Is that a great time? No. Would it be great for me? Yes. That would be by far, so that would be my fastest 5K ever, and that would by far be the fastest 5K that I've run on this knee post-surgery. That's one of the items. The other item, kind of similar backstory, I want to do Highland Games. What got me into strongman and weightlifting originally was me trying to figure out how to better train for shot put and discus in high school. And whenever I was finished, by the time I was finishing up high school, I couldn't wait to be done with shot put and discus. That way I could dive head first into strongman. If I knew then what I know now, I would have thrown circles around me. I was a self-taught thrower, all things considered, and I looking back, I did a number of things wrong, and I know I would do way better if I could coach me then. Me back then would have done way better. So I want to do Highland Games and kind of show myself that I, in fact, wasn't a sucky thrower. I was just a mediocre thrower with bad information and bad training practices. So I want to do a Highlands Games, which, again, technically speaking, I don't have a baseline for that. I've never done that before. Yes, it's the same kind of skill set that I use for shot put and discus, but it's different. It's completely different. So, but that's something that I want to be able to say that I've done. Okay. The other thing that I really want to see if I can't do between now and my return to strongman at the under 90 kilo, or getting down to the under 90 kilo class, is I would like to do some sort of MMA or boxing match. I have been a traditional Taekwondo practitioner for the last 15 plus years. And somehow I've never even managed to do a traditional tournament. I am a second Dan black belt, a assistant instructor at a school in Brandon, and I've never been in an organized fight. That is something I would like to change. That is something that one day, if the Lord allows me to have kids, I want to be able to tell my kids that I was brave enough to do that, because there is a risk with strongman. You know there's a risk, and sometimes it's avoidable, right? Sometimes you strap into a deadlift and you set your hips and you go to brace and take the slack out of the bar, and you can just immediately feel, if I redline this, I'm going to hurt myself. And the smart ones ease their way out of it and don't go through with the pull. There's sometimes you pop a bar up for to the rack position to press, and you go to dip and you drive and you start the press, and you can feel that if you hang underneath that bar for much longer, it's going to come crashing down on top of you and you're going to get hurt. So instead, you do the wise thing and you bail out from underneath the bar. That way you can at least not die. There are some times in strongman that you have control over the situation. With fighting, you don't. You may step in the ring and you may catch one punch and you go, oh no, if I keep going, I'm about to get hurt. Well, you got to keep going. There is no getting out of that. There is a different level of bravery and mental fortitude required to step into a ring. And I want to be able to look back and say, I don't want to be the guy that sits in my lounge chair as an old man and talk about things that I could have done if I decided I want to. I want to be the old guy that sits in my lounge chair and tells my grandkids the wildest stories of stuff that I actually did do. And for me, stepping into a ring is one of those things that I want that to be a part of my random dad lore that I get to share one day with my kids. So that's going to be the one that takes more time. Because again, road race, it's a matter of, can my knee handle that type of training? Highland Games, it's a matter of, just how well do I do? I don't think there's really much injury factor in that for me. I don't think my body's going to push back against that style of training at all. I think that's going to go over great. The question for me is, at what point do I consider good enough with fighting as far as my condition? Because again, I don't have a standard for myself. I don't know what fighting shape for me really looks like. So over the next 12 to 18 months, I'm going to try and find it at some point. And part of that may just depend upon when there's an opportunity for that, because I don't know what the fighting scene in this part of the nation looks like. So I don't know where there is an entry level fight, or if that's even something that I can do. If that's not going to take years of training at a MMA school for me to get to know the right people and to have a chance to prove myself, maybe that's actually not in the cards. I don't know. But if that is something that I can sign up for and do an entry level fight, I want to. But we will see how that goes. But to answer the question, no, I am not done with strongman. I am taking some time off to make some changes to myself to hopefully improve both my longevity in the sport and my competitiveness in the sport. And during that time, I got a couple side quests that I'm going to do. But at the end of the day, this is the sport that I love. And as I've said before, my dream with the sport is to win natural worlds. That is something that I have decided is I will never I'm never going to use steroids. I don't judge anybody who does, but that's just a decision that I'm making for myself. And so to set out to do anything to win something that is not drug tested is just setting out for failure. And I know that. But that doesn't mean that I can't shoot for the stars. And so for me, the stars will be natural worlds. So am I done? No. I'm really only just now getting going. But that means I got to make a couple of changes to make sure my trajectory is right. So I'm not done. I'm getting better. I'm getting better with each and every rep. Oh, my ACL. Oh, my hips. Ay-ya-ha. Whew. Okay.